Hi, this is Dave T1963, and today we're talking the new Tethrd One Stick. I see that Greg and them released some videos and stuff, and there's been a lot of questions as far as how to silence them, you know, how we're using them, what kind of aider system that we're using and all that. So I'm going to cover what I'm doing with my sticks. I currently now have 6 of the Tethrd One Sticks that I use. I like having an extra set in case something goes wrong, and most of the time I'm only using 2 to 3 sticks. 2 sticks with the Tethrd One Sticks will get me about 12 foot to the top of my second stick with an aider, and then if I want to set my platform up higher, you know, you're talking 13.5 foot, 14 foot stretching it. With 3 sticks, I have no problem, once again, stretching these sticks out and using an aider and getting 18 to 20 foot to my platform level. So, you know, 3 sticks is more than enough. Most of the time anymore, I'm finding myself 12 to 15 foot is where I find the most shootability out of the trees that I hunt down here, and also where I'm comfortable with the shot angle and stuff. So, you know, really, there's not a lot that you have to do with these sticks. And everyone keeps talking about noise, you know, that they're noisy and stuff, and I just want to kind of address that. Yeah, you know what? All metal's noisy. But really, if you take your time and use these things slowly and you're not in a hurry, they're not that noisy. Now this is banging on my countertop. That's why you hear a noise now. But really the only modifications that I made to these sticks at all is I got some camouflage, I don't even know, it's that medical tape, whatever you want to call it. I get it through Amazon, or you can use stealth strips. I use that too. But I just wrap the tubing. That's all I do with these. And really, I take that back. I also wrap the end of each one of my cords because they double this back. And if it hit against that titanium, it was kind of loud. So I put some of that tape on that as well. But that's really all I've done. Now, one thing I will tell you, these things stick together, these pins, incredibly tight. So a lot of times, you know, you're going to have to use some force to get these apart. But what you can do, if you're like me and you don't want to have to force things so hard to get them apart, just take some sandpaper and sand these little pins down a little bit and they'll go right in. The primary purpose of this is just to line them up for stacking. You could actually stack these sticks because of the curvature in this right here. You can put some stealth stripping on this and you can actually stack these sticks without even using those pins. And then use a bungee like I've showed on my other sticks to tie them together. But I don't find the pins that much of a problem. Now I will tell you, in the dark, sometimes lining them up and stuff, it can be a little bit of a pain. It might take you a whole 1 or 2 seconds to do that. You know, if you line up your bottom holes first and then you just barely pick up on these, they go together rather easy, just like that, okay? That's all it takes to put them together. And then taking them apart, you know, once again, what I like to do is I hold my sticks and I just bump the stick I'm on to get it loose, and then I take it off, okay? But that's the only modifications I've really done with these sticks. I have had no problem with the amount of space from the tree they sit. In fact, these have a lot more than the helium. Now, they don't stick out as far from the tree, but there's plenty of area to put your foot on here for climbing purposes. So that's really all I've done to these. I thought the guys did a really good job talking about all the different aspects of these sticks and the advantages of these sticks, like the little glow tabs. I love those. You don't have to worry about shining a light down here and lighting anything up and seeing. These will pick up, even on a cloudy day, enough sunlight to where they'll stay lit an hour after dark, so you can actually see these as you're climbing down without any light. I like that. Now, what I'll sometimes do in the morning as well, which is not that big of a deal, but I'll hit my headlight on this and get these glowing, and that way in the morning I can even see my way going up. But most of the time I don't even do that. I climb usually in the dark. For how to use this stick, you know, there's plenty of instructions on there. I'm just going to tell you what I do, and I don't recommend anyone else do this because it don't follow Tethrd's guidance. But I will wrap this around the tree. I will come underneath this Versa button, whatever they call that, I don't even know what they call it, and I come in front of the rope. Now what I do is, once again, I make one loop, I go back under, and then I pull this up one time, and then I'll wrap it a couple more times. I'm not using all 4 of these cleats. I'm using one. I have yet to have this stick budge at all by doing that. I would almost guarantee you that if you wanted to, you could just wrap it around here and it would still secure that rope, because it pinches down on the rope. I don't know if you can see that. It pinches down on the rope on both sides, wrapping around this. So once again, let me see if I can get closer. Hopefully this will auto adjust. You go around the tree. I come under this, make one wrap, and then I come up, and sometimes I'll go over that top one and pull down. Now that's all you could do, but these ropes are really long. I'll probably cut mine down, but then I'll probably just wrap it a few more times, and then I might wrap it around the stick or whatever, because I don't like a lot of rope flapping around in the wind. Most of my trees, my gosh, that much rope right there is more than enough for any tree I'll encounter, and I still got 2 foot over here, so obviously Tethrd must be hunting some big trees that I don't have down here. So that's how I use these on the tree. Now, as far as an aider, Carl over at Tethrd made this aider for me. My standard carry-as-you-go won't work on this stick. What you've got to have is you got to have an aider that's got 2 loops on it that go over each one of these little ears on the top step. And then this bungee cord pulls them together, and that way this does not come off. You have to reach down and pull this apart to get it off. Now, if you followed me for a while, I do not like multi-step aiders. Everyone should know that by now. This works. There's nothing wrong with this. This one's got 3 steps, but what I don't like about a multi-step aider, coming down it's okay. But going up the tree, as soon as you step in this top one, it pinches every one of these others together, and then you're having to try to finagle your foot in them as you're going up. Now once again, going down, it's not that big of a deal, because you step on the first one, the next 2 are free, you know, they're hanging freely, so it's easy to put your foot in there and go down. So going down's a breeze. I just don't like that. You can see it right here, that when you step on this, how it pinches those together. Not a big deal, but for me, in my age, you know, I'm getting a little bit older, and in the dark and stuff, it's just, to me, in my experience, when aiders kick out, it's typically when you're shifting weight, and I just don't like multi-step aiders. So, I don't know, I might wind up giving this away or something, I don't know, we'll see. Now what I did is I made a carry-as-you-go aider. And all I did is I took a piece of 1/4-inch am steel, I measured how long I wanted it, figured out how much I needed for my loops, and I did basically the same thing Carl did. I put bungee in between here to where that won't come off, and then this hangs down the exact same measurement from here. Or if you wanted to, I like a 24-inch aider hang down, so that's what I've done here. I haven't done it yet, but I'll put a little piece of tubing in here to help hold that open, but really, you know, with a one-step aider, you don't even need that. So this thing weighs practically nothing. So you put this on your stick. I usually set these sticks, normally with my heliums, I was going up a little bit above 6 foot. With these, I tend to do these right about nose. So I'm losing about 6 inches per stick over the heliums, but I make that up in the weight. So I'm losing 1.5 feet of height for 3 sticks that weigh less than one helium, one modified helium. So the time you incorporate the strap and the aider and all that. So, you know, to me, 1.5 feet is not that much. And if I wanted to, I could throw a 4 stick in there and get way past what I could with 3 for still less weight. But so far, 3 sticks in this aider have got everywhere I needed to be. So once again, I'll show a little bit of a close-up. These just have loops on them. All this is you take a piece of am steel, you put 2 loops, Brummel lock loops at each end, and then all I did is I took a knitting needle and went through both of those joints where I put them together, and I put a short piece of bungee in there and tied it together to where you have to, this is pretty heavy bungee. So once you put that over the ears, there's no way this is coming off. But that's it. That's all this aider is. This thing probably weighs a couple of ounces. Now, one of the things that I didn't cover yet, let me just put these together real quick, that I should have covered. Now, once again, I just find these stack easier if you put them on their end, line up those bottom ones, and then you just barely pick up the top, and that's it. They're together. One of the greatest things I love about these sticks is putting these on a pack. A lot of times I'm going in, you know, a couple miles deep, going through some thick brush and stuff like that. And in the past, I used to carry this in one hand, my heliums, and carry my bow, but I'm going through so much brush, I like having one hand free, so I usually attach these to my pack. Now, one of the things I don't like about a 24-inch stick is they're either sticking up if you do them vertically, or they're sticking real far if you do them horizontally. With these, I just take this and wrap it around the sticks. Like I said, these ropes are probably a little bit overkill for the trees I hunt. But how I attach these is I put these on the bottom of my pack with straps. And I don't know how well this is going to show up, but look at it. They're not even as wide as my shoulders. So I don't snag on brush with these sticks strapped to the bottom of my pack, and they compact so tightly that, I mean, if your pack is 5 inches in width, it's not even going to stick out past your pack. So man, I'll tell you, having used these now for, what is this, probably 6 months, I will tell you, I don't have the problem when I attach these to the pack that I always had with the longer heliums and beast sticks and the 3-step sticks of snagging on brush. When I bend down, if I did them vertically and go under stuff, it would snag. Constant snagging on brush and vines and stuff. These things are just phenomenal. These are, in my opinion, I know you give up a little bit of height, but these are just the perfect size sticks and the perfect size stacking for putting these on a pack. I don't think you can get much better than this. And like I said, the total thing with the ropes and everything ready to hunt, this is 3 pounds, right at 3 pounds. Then you add a few ounces for an aider, and this will get you, like I said, at least 18 foot. If you can't get 5 foot a stick out of here, you're doing something wrong. And then you can step up 2 foot. So 17 foot as a bare minimum. But getting 18 foot out of these and 19 foot to me is not hard. And then if you're worried about getting to 20, you could carry one stick or one of those strap-on steps to get to 20 and still be way under the weight that you would have with three of any other stick that I know of. Now, I haven't tried the carbon, Timber Ninja sticks. I have not personally tried those. And I'm sure they're a good stick. You know, all sticks work. My gosh, when we first started getting into portable sticks and stuff like that, I used to carry 5-foot sections of steel tubing with steps on it that strapped together at the base of the tree. And if you didn't have a perfectly straight tree, it was challenging. And then I used those rapid rails that were made out of steel that probably weighed 20 pounds. So, you know, I can't see myself going past this. I mean, I am absolutely 100% perfectly content with carrying 3 pounds of sticks. In fact, most of the trees I hunt with, when you're talking about getting 12 foot high, I only need 2 sticks to do that. And, you know, like I said, if you want to use a multi-step aider with 3 sticks, there is no reason that you can't get to 21, 22 foot with 3 of these sticks, 3 pounds. This aider here probably weighs, I don't know, it's in the ounces, I'm sure, but it's a little bit heavier than the Amstel. So that's how I'm going to run the Tethrd One Stick, you know. And once again, there's so many options out there nowadays, you know, and I get so sick and tired of everyone saying this is best, and it's what's best for you. And I realize a lot of people don't have a lot of money to tie up in thousands of dollars worth of sticks to try out and stuff like that. What I would recommend is getting on your local hunting groups and stuff, especially if there's a saddle group nearby, and see if people will let you try out gear. I'll tell you, I was a little bit skeptical about these Tethrd One Sticks when they first were talking to me about them and stuff. You know, I was perfectly happy with the B sticks and perfectly happy with hawk helium sticks. And I still have all my old sticks. I'll probably use them when I leave them up in preset trees. But man, when I got my hand, it's just hard to envision, for me to envision what 3 pounds of sticks weighs like. This is absolutely nothing to carry. You put my longbow with a full quiver of arrows and the big broadheads, and you're probably getting there, if not exceeding, the weight of these sticks. A longbow, I can't even, you know, I've got a Matthews compound, and that thing's a boat, you know, to carry compared to these. So, you know, I just encourage you, get your hands on these, try them out. They're not for everyone. But I do think there's going to be a group of saddle hunters, and, you know, tree stand hunters are going to use this too. I'm not afraid to use that word. This is just probably the best climbing stick that I've used. When you look at it, doesn't do, no stick out there, no tree stand out there, no saddle out there does everything the best. In other words, it can't have all the attributes that you're looking for and be the best above everyone else. Everyone builds into their gear what they find valuable. For me, in how I hunt, packability is probably my predominant requirement. If you watched any of my other videos and stuff, there's times I'm wading through creeks that are this high, and I don't like wearing my saddle and a whole lot of gear on me, and I don't like carrying stuff. I like it all attached to a pack, to where when I come to that creek, I can carry that creek or that pack in one hand and my bow in the other and cross over and keep it above my head. It's just how I hunt in the areas that I hunt and stuff. So, you know, what I look for is something that's compact. That's one of the biggest advantages of the gym step systems. I wish they worked better out in the field under real world conditions. I tried them for years. I still use them for preset trees way back in some swamps and stuff. But in reality, they didn't work out as well under real hunting conditions. These do. I mean, I have not found a tree yet that I've wanted to be in that these did not work on. So, you know, but compactness was big for me. This probably the second thing is weight. You know, I've got a lot of shoulder issues, and when I put on a big heavy pack, and I'm carrying camera gear and my predator platform and extra clothing and water and all the things that I need to carry out in the woods, it takes a toll throughout a hunting season on my shoulder. So, you know, weight is a big concern for me. And then I am probably overkill on my gear being quiet. But that's the 3 things that I look for in all of my gear that I use for hunting. I like something that can go inside my pack that's compact. I like something that's, you know, the value added is worth the weight that I have to carry. I don't know how else to frame that up. Some things are, you know, like a good camcorder. To me, there's enough value in carrying that over a cheap camera and a small camera. So, you know, the weight benefit is there. And then I like my gear to be quiet. You know, I don't want to have to be ultra concerned with using my gear. And once again, you could probably still strip all these steps and you could dip them. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do to these. I just personally, now, right now I'm setting this out on a granite countertop, so obviously it's making some noise. But if you take these and put them on the ground, to get them apart, just give them a little tap. There's no noise out in the woods with these sticks. So they can very easily be quieted down. So, you know, I saw them mention that several times on that video. And I'm here to tell you, if you want to try them, don't be overly concerned with that. There's ways to mitigate that. And like I said, probably the biggest noise factor was these pins are fit together so tightly, which is a plus in the stacking regards. But getting them apart, sometimes there was noise if you don't wrap these tubes. But you can see here, that one's ready to come off right now. There's no noise really once you wrap these things up. And like I said, the only part I wrapped was the tube. If you wanted to wrap more of this, you probably could. And you could even cut those little cleats off and stack these sticks together without them, and you would make zero noise. Then you just take one of those bungee cords like I use and put it around this Versa button. Trying to think if there's anything else that I haven't covered in these sticks. You know, a lot of good products out there. You know, spend your money. If you want to ask me questions, put them down below. If you want to send me a personal message, now would be the time. Please don't wait till September and October to do that, because getting a hold of me at that time is kind of hard. I don't make as many videos on gear and stuff as I used to. I'm just moving into different areas in my life and stuff like that. I've got my hunting system pretty much down. I can't even imagine things getting any better for how I like to hunt. I mean, between that Phantom saddle, and you know what? There's a lot of good saddles, and you'd be surprised if y'all knew all the saddles that I have, because I'd like to buy gear and test it out. I stopped doing comparison equipment because there's just so much bias out there, and you know, people accuse me, you're a Tethrd fanboy because I field test their gear and stuff like that. So I stopped doing those comparison videos because I got tired of dealing with all that crap. There's a lot of good gear out there. There is so many good saddles out there. All of them hunt the same way. You know, one of the things I just want to say flat out, I could take any of the commercial saddles made today and be 100% comfortable and happy using that. Man, y'all should go back to some of the gear we had to DIY and things we've used in the past. There are so many good saddles. There is so many good ways to climb up and get up in a tree. To me, find what works for you. Find something that you can put your faith in. That you know. For me, I like the people that run Tethrd. I think it's a good company. I think that they've done a lot for our sport. And they make great products. They're forward thinking. So to me, I have faith in that company, and that's the one I go with. For me personally, I can and do have quite a few saddle platforms. I've got the Lone Wolf Custom Gear one. I've got a couple of the other new ones that are out there by other manufacturers and stuff like that. And for me, that Tethrd original Predator platform goes in my pack. It's small, it's compact, and it does everything I need a platform to do, and I am 100% happy with that. I'll try things in the future, but man, I just can't see me going to another platform. That works for me. I've bought 4 of them now, and I've got enough probably to last me the rest of my hunting career. Same with the sticks. I've got 4 or 5 pairs of the helium sticks I modified. I've got 2 sets of the B sticks. I've got the Lone Wolf Custom Gear sticks, and I got their double steps, and I've got the Tethrd. This is going to be my stick. This does everything I need a stick to do, and it does it. It meets all those important qualifications I got. I trust Tethrd. You know, as a company and the people behind it, I know that they test this equipment. They don't. They do a lot of the right things that a company does, and I trust them. They're good people that work at Tethrd. And so, you know, I've got my platform figured out. I've got their stick. And quite frankly, to me, that Phantom saddle does everything I could have ever wanted back when we were DIYing saddles and stuff to come up with a mobile ultralight saddle that could go in a pack and go hunt with. I've got the Eberhard saddle. Like I said, I've got some other companies that I'm not going to mention. I bought their flagship model and of the newer ones, and all of them are good saddles. But for me, Tethrd just that Phantom saddle came out, and I tried that, and I was like, this is it. This is exactly what I personally was aspiring to have back when we were DIYing, because there was no saddle gear available. These sticks, the only reason why I ever started altering helium sticks, and I'll tell you, Lone Wolf made mini sticks years ago, but back when I originally started cutting down my helium sticks to 20 inches, I don't know that anyone was doing that. Could have been, but I think my YouTube video was one of the first. Now everyone's cutting them down, but the only reason why I ever started doing that was because I didn't like those long sticks with 15-inch steps. I thought they were wasteful. You know, the steps are too short and they weighed so much, and I was like, in my mind, let's cut these down, get these steps apart further, and the helium was just what I used at the time. Had these been out, I probably would have never even wasted my time doing this, because this is exactly what I was striving for at a much reduced weight. And then the platform, you know, once again, there was other platforms out there. You know, the ambush platform was out there for a while. I'm trying to remember the guy who did the original Lone Wolf seat. Clem's, I think it was doing a platform, but those became exceedingly hard to find, and they were, quite frankly, a little small. I think I was probably the first one that came up with that leveraging down seat off of the Lone Wolf that brought back some of the fervor for having a good saddle platform. We were always looking for good saddle platforms. I've had them all. I've had them all. And I will tell you, a strap with the plastic steps on public land, to me, was an okay solution to having a platform. I personally don't like a ring of steps. I don't like having to move around to position for shots. It's not for me, not at the height that I like to hunt. You know, you're 12 foot high in the thick crap that I hunt, you're not going to be able to scoot around a tree to try to get a shot at a buck. Just not going to do it. It's much easier to be able to turn on a platform to get 360 shooting, or to bend around a tree to get it. So to me, you know, finding that platform was, that was a passion of mine for years, and I started experimenting. I started posting some videos, and then it just kind of grew and grew and grew. But once again, when Tethrd released that Predator platform, it did everything that I was envisioning and trying to get out of all those DIY projects. So to me, you know, it's just by coincidence that I've went from one company, that I wound up using my stick, my platform, and my saddle from one company, because Tethrd has never, ever tried to force me or coerce me or even talk me into using all three of their systems. It's just, you know, there's a bunch of saddles coming out and stuff like that, and I was trying them all, and then they released, gosh, I don't even remember what was out there before the Phantom. The Mantis saddle, which was based off of, most of the modern saddles that you see today are based off of the old sit drag DIYs, the shape and how they work. If you will go back and do some research, most of the patterns and the way they're working now evolved from those sit drags. Well, the Mantis was the first one that came out that did that completely. When you look at the leg straps, the bridge, everything. So, you know, I jumped on the Mantis, and I was perfectly happy with that saddle, and I was like, I'm done. Then they released the Predator, and they asked me to, you know, that prototype, or to try out and field test some of the earlier models, and I went through, I think, three gyrations of that until they got the current Phantom saddle. But I'll tell you, as soon as I started using that and they started making some of the changes and stuff that we were all recommended, I found the saddle that I was always looking for. Whether I was doing fleece saddles, whether I was DIYing the old trophy line saddles, or doing the sit drag modifications. In the back of my mind, even when Arrow Hunter first released their first hunting saddle, to me it was too bulky and there's just too much going on. What I always envisioned is what I now have in the Phantom. That's exactly what I wanted. So, you know, that's why I'm using a Phantom. And then these sticks are the last component. You know, I was perfectly happy using helium until they started doing some stuff, you know, advertising stuff and copying and stuff that I didn't care for. So then I tried a whole host of sticks. I've tried the double sticks from Lone Wolf Custom Gear. It's a great stick. I have them and I like them. Dan Infalt's B sticks, I really like those things. I'll probably get a set of his mini sticks just because I like supporting Dan. But when I got my hands on these One Sticks and I actually got to try them out in the field, and you know, initially there was some learning curve on my part and I didn't really like them at first. I won't say I didn't like them. I wasn't comfortable using them in the dark and stuff like that, so it took some time. But now that I've used them over and over again, I've got that repetition going and stuff, I am perfectly content. That's how I came about using all three of the Tethrd products. It's not that they told me I have to use their gear. It's just their gear just happens to be the innovation at the time that meets all the criteria, and I have my system. I'm not actively out there looking for new sticks, new platforms, new saddles. I'm done. You know, I've spent my time, decade or two, to get to the point where I'm 100% happy with my current kit. So anyway, once again, try to get if you're down in the Texas area, you want to look me up, give me a shout, and maybe we can get together and I'll be happy to let you try these things. Same with my saddles and my platforms. So once again, if you got any comments or questions, or you know, you want to reach out to me, you can either PM me or drop it in below. Whatever you choose, whatever system you go with, whatever saddle and climbing system you go with, my advice to you is spend the summer to get that honed out, work down, get your gear, and then practice, 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 and stick with that same climbing gear for the season, and you'll be better off. I see so many guys nowadays buying things in September, even October and November, and trying to implement it, and then they're not happy and stuff. Now's the time to do all that. There is something to be said about having the same backpack, the same gear, everything's in the same place. Your method of getting up in the tree remains consistent, so that you're not having to try to remember or figure things out on the fly. No matter if I'm hunting private, public, whether it's in Texas in mesquite trees that are 12 foot high, or I'm hunting East Texas where I've got pine trees that I can get up 30 foot high if I want to. Or Ohio, or you know, I'll probably go to Kansas this year, I might go to Missouri. No matter where I'm going, what kind of terrain, my system's the same. It's the same saddle, the same sticks, the same climbing method. It just works for me, and so through years and years of practicing and making small tweaks and stuff like that, I am absolutely comfortable going in the dark, finding my tree, and being able to climb it. I can even do this, and I do this frequently every year, go in blind in the morning, never been to an area, pick out a tree, climb it, and set my gear up in total dark, or with the very minimal, I'll use a small red lens light. I can climb and set up in a tree in darkness. And to me, that's a huge advantage. Having that kind of confidence in my gear and that kind of muscle memory in using that gear, that gives me a tremendous advantage every year while I'm out hunting. I probably prep 30 to 40 trees every year and wind up using maybe 10 of them, a third of them, and the rest of my hunts are on the fly, and I'm scouting, and I find hot sign and I set up, and so it's usually in trees that I've never climbed before. Having a system that you're got that good muscle memory and you've used over and over and over and over, and you practice, helps. Something else that helps me is, like I said, I prep trees, and I run 50 to 60 cameras. I've got 70 cameras now, but at any given time I've got about 50 cameras out. And I use the same gear to do that. Now, I bought an extra saddle because down here in Texas it's hot in the summer and I sweat a lot. So I have an extra saddle, extra lineman's belt, tether. I have an extra set of sticks, and for that I do use a strap with the plastic steps just for prepping trees and stuff and running cameras. So That all helps because I'm doing this, you know, all year long. I'm using my saddle, I'm using my sticks, and I'm using my platform to some degree. It helps. All right. So I think I've drug this out long enough. Once again, comment down below if you have any questions. Dave T1963 out.